Hop in, babe, we're going.
Woohoo!
Well, your new friends from the Netherlands used to have a house left into the mouse. Got an old RV, got Penelope, she's a 1983. Well, your new friends from the Netherlands, bad Penelope. Pen loves taking pictures and patterns of design. Penelope loves driving till the end of time. Well, RV-licious, if you like a vibe, please subscribe, please subscribe.
This video is in response to a good question Rick Conley, our patron and passenger, asked about under the previous video. Namely, when Petra was ranting about his family, Conley, Rick, asked, how about my family? Well, don't get me started. That's a completely different story. I will try to tell it as best as I can. As you may or may not know, both of my parents are narcissists, and that I found that out when I was unemployed. I had lots of time to read, so I came across a book, in this case about N moms, but I'm sure it's the same for N dads, N standing for narcissist. And it finally, because always I thought, why is their reaction so weird, and all the puzzle pieces came together. I finally understood my parents, both of them are narcissists. And to top it all off, I have the best of both worlds. There are two kinds of narcissists: the ignoring narcissists, whom doesn't reach out to you at all. You have to do all the contact making. And the engulfing narcissists, who calls you around the day, who calls you a lot, and always has to talk about him or her. This is a good base to start. My father was born in Austria, and he left Austria because he hated it there, in order to go on a world trip, but he eventually ended up in the USA. He went also to Amsterdam, where he met my mother. They hooked up, yada yada yada, and 8 months later I was in the incubator, and he was shocked that he was about to be a father, so he wrote my mother a letter, and please abort, I cannot deal with this. Remember, it was the 70s, so they both used substances, and yeah, well, he wrote her a letter, please abort this child because I cannot deal with this and it interferes with my drug use. And of course my mother, being a narcissist, did quite the opposite. She kept me. So he went to America and tried his luck there as an artist. He painted. He was a painter of art, just like me. Basically, my father never wanted me. My mother was basically not fit to be a mother, because the first 6 years of my life I was raised by my grandmother. I believe I was 12 years old. I started contacting him and writing with him, and when email came, we emailed back and forth. And I always thought, when I ask him questions, He never answered me. I always had to mail the questions 1 or twice before I finally got an answer. But yeah, of course, now I know he's an ignoring narcissist, so that was also probably why we could never connect. I always try to make the relationship deeper, asked, well, I thought, important questions, and he just replied shallow. It was just all shallow replies and lots of foggery. Well, he wasn't there for my upbringing. The only share he had in my upbringing was a letter, again, another letter to my mother, telling me how to raise me. He said I should not eat meat, I should not eat chocolate, I should be raised spiritually. Well, that was a couple of things. When it comes to help, my father I cannot count on. The only thing he said to me when I told him I was unemployed, he said, yeah, I know how it is, struggling artist, yada yada yada. Good luck with that, and here's a picture of my garden. While he was in America, he also got married to another woman, got a daughter with her, my half-sister. And of course the apple does not fall far from the tree. So she, yeah, also shallow, not interested in what you have to say, not wanting to connect. The only difference between him and her is that she eventually, when she was in her 20s, came to Amsterdam. So I thought, yay, I'm gonna meet my sister. Boy, was I wrong. The only thing that she wanted to do in Amsterdam was party and hook up with her Facebook friends. Probably score some cannabis. I got scheduled in between her meeting her Facebook friends. So where I thought we were gonna connect, we're gonna talk, we're gonna spend all week together because she was staying a week. None of that. Boy, was I wrong. She was not very open about her past. I did ask her questions, but I always wondered why didn't my father come along with her. That would have been awesome. My father and sister coming together to America, to Amsterdam. And yeah, well, I thought that was a shame. And when I lost my job, she was busy partying and had no time for me. When I mailed her repeatedly, how are you? How's your job? How are your relationships? Yeah, I never got a reply, so it always had to go through my father, which I thought was weird. So finally, when I read that book about narcissism, I thought, this is no use. I cannot connect to those people, even if I wanted to. They're always fogging and shallow, and so I thought, it's enough. After those many years of trying and trying and trying to connect, I thought, no, let's break the ties. After a year, after a year of not contacting them, I finally got a mail via my website. I think it was a mail. It looked more like a Twitter. It looked more like a Twitter message because it was under 140 characters. I haven't heard from you in a while. My father said, how are you doing? Let me know if you are okay. Because after a year, really dude, really? For me to take that seriously, if he was really worried, he would have contacted me way sooner. And yeah, I mean, what kind of excuse is there after contacting somebody after a year? Well, the only excuse I can think of, he has been abducted by aliens, or he was an undercover agent, could not contact me any sooner, um, contact, yeah, because he was deep undercover, so he could not contact me any sooner than the time he did. Those are the only valid excuses I would have accepted. Yeah, I think I made the right choice by not by breaking those ties, because they were not, yeah, emotionally, they are not fulfilling relationships. My mother is an engulfing narcissist. My upbringing with her was far from ideal because, yeah, again, she sometimes thinks, yeah, I raised her, or I had to be the grown-up in our relationship, and she was more like a toddler. I remember walking in the new neighborhood with my mother. She took me for a walk in the park, Park, most famous park of Amsterdam and the Netherlands. And of course I was very young, so the memory is a bit hazy, but what I do remember is that she had to go to the bathroom, and she got a bit annoyed with me because, yeah, you know, I was young, I didn't walk as fast as her, so she got annoyed, angry, and she left me in the middle of the park. Eventually somebody found me. Luckily it was someone who knew my mother, because, you know, maybe it could also have gone very wrong. Yes, I wonder how other mothers would have dealt with it. She was 29, she had to pee, and well, what springs to my mind is just pick me up and run home. Or she could have, very cavemen, go and pee behind some bushes, which, especially in those days, that was not frowned upon. People did it all the time. Or just, yeah, let it all go and walk home with a wet bench without leaving your child behind. So there were a lot of options she could have chosen, but yeah, she chose the option of leaving me in the park. Of course, there are lots more examples. Even with the most simplest things, I could not go out with my mother. In that aspect, she was really a toddler. I mean, when somebody was staring at her, at least she thought so. When somebody accidentally bumped into her, she made a scene of it. And it was everywhere, when we were sitting on a terrace or sitting in the movie theater. Yeah, she always managed to create drama, start a fight when people looked at her wrong, or bumped into her, or accidentally hooked on her, stepped on her toes, or those things happen in a big city because it's busy. When people accidentally bumped into her, she would kick like a mule. So yeah, and start fights verbally, and sometimes she even got physical. So it's not nice to see when your mother is on the warpath at the most simple daily tasks. So in that aspect, she really was a toddler. The last time I went out with her, I went to make photographs of a flower show. It was an awesome day. Sun was shining, and you could smell all the flowers of that flower show. I was photographing, so I didn't quite see what my mother was up to, and I thought everything was going fine. We sort of had fun. Of course, she was very, as per usual, grumpy because she thought, yeah, people looked at her wrong, and it was busy, of course, because everyone went out to enjoy that flower show. So I thought, wow, she's actually enjoying it. And then I was photographing the stands and the the carts with the flowers on it. And all of a sudden, she came to me like a toddler. Did you know that woman there with the baby carriage? She drove over my toes. I mean, what do you want? It's busy, so it can happen. And then, of course, like a mule, she kicked backwards against the baby carriage. I believe there was a baby in it, even. So, and I thought, oh my God, here we go again. It was, I think, 3 years ago. That was the last time we went out because I was so sick of it. Every time we went out, it's supposed to be a fun day. You're supposed to enjoy the flowers, enjoy the people, enjoy the weather. And she always made it into a shit show. It's so... and on top of that, by kicking that carriage, I mean, it was a whole family with a mother and a father and 6 brothers. I don't know, but it was a big family. They were all enjoying the show and the flowers. So, for all we know, they could have been very annoyed, very violent. We don't know how they're gonna react. So she put me and herself in danger. I told her that don't do those things. That was the last time I talked to her. Don't do those things. It might get you in danger, or even worse, get you killed. For all we know, the father would have been so angry that he would have attacked her and me, broken my camera. It's, yeah. And now I know why that all those incidents, all those times when I was just doing the simple things as you do with your mother, why it always turned out to be a shit show instead of a fun day. And why she always made it about herself and always created drama, because now I know, because she is an engulfing narcissist. It doesn't matter what attention she got, as long as she got attention, even negative attention. So, yeah, that was not nice. And there, where I always thought she was overprotective, it was not the case. It was just her wanting to everything to revolve around her, of course. And now I know that it, yeah, it puts so much puzzle pieces in their place. And yeah, she always was on a warpath with the neighbors. I mean, it's Amsterdam, there are old houses, so it's noisy. So whenever somebody walked through the house or made another noise in the house, being a narcissist, she thinks it was for her, and then she went on a warpath. So why can't they be a little more quiet, or why can't they do this, why can't they do that? And I've always thought, what are you talking about? I mean, those are just living noises. When you hear the door slam, you hear that in noisy houses. And then she would, to make clear to them how loud it was sounding for us, she would slam the door for almost over a quarter of an hour, just to let them know how loud it sounds. When the neighbor hung out of the window talking with her friend, it's a typical Amsterdam thing to do. and my mother became, she went, she exploded, ballistic, and turned on the radio as loud as she could so she didn't have to listen to our neighbor. People came home late at night, after maybe midnight or something, and slammed the door. She would grab a hammer and started banging the floor just to let everybody know that she was also around. I can also remember one incident. My mother pissed off the neighbors again. One day she put the main front door on the night lock. She locked the door from the inside. Nobody can get in, not even the people who live there, even though they have a key. So when the neighbor came back from his usual going to the bar, he got annoyed, went back to the bar, came back with two buddies and threatened to kick in the door. So we panicked, and I don't know whether my mother called the police or not. I guess she did, but she probably called them so much that they didn't want to come around anymore. So for half an hour they tried to kick in that door, and her idea was to climb over the balcony. It was the third floor. She climbed over the balcony, leaving me on our balcony, leaving me behind again. If those men would have gotten in, if those men would have succeeded to kick in the door, they were drunk. My mother was out of reach on the other balcony, and leaving me alone to fend for myself again. So she saved herself instead of protecting me. I mean, I was her only daughter. Her mother instinct did not kick in. She was not protecting her young. Let's keep it at that. So basically, I had to raise myself. I think I was very mature for my age, and seeing I had to grow up so fast, seeing I had to be my own parent and had to educate myself mostly. It's not easy because other kids get to be kids, get to go out, have friends, and whenever I had friends, my mother of course tried to break those friendships apart, so I could not easily connect to other kids. I was very shy. So I always thought, well, let's not start friendship because my mother is gonna ruin it anyway. And I partly think, I don't think I was a naturally shy kid, because when I was about 5 or 6, I was talking to everyone. That memory I do have. I was talking to everyone. Didn't matter how young, how old. I just talked to them, and I wasn't scared at all. And yes, as soon as I got older, I got shyer, and I guess that's because all of the isolating and just having to be available for the narcissistic mother, I never got to build up my own life. She, like a toddler, demanded all attention, and yeah, she never, of course, being a toddler, she could never teach me how to socialize. A typical day, to illustrate that she was never there, I bought me a alarm clock, so I could get up early in the morning to go to school. With allowance, so I could buy my own food and She never made me lunch to go to when I went to school. Um, and when I came home, usually there was nobody there. I made my own dinner. Yeah, so most I can remember most of the times I was alone. The only thing I had was the radio or the television. That's probably why music was my first love, and Patrick is my second, of course.
I did not script that at all.
He did not direct it at all. I cannot recall that my mother ever woke up to make me breakfast or to wake me on time to get into school. She didn't walk me to school, and she did not pick me up from school, and my mother was never there when I had events for school. Most things I just did alone. Seeing her being a narcissist, she of course isolated me from the outside world, where I thought it was protection of the mother. That's how ignorant I was then. It is pure isolating of the narcissist. So you are the only one she can complain to. So she has her own personal, Patrick and I call it blarp buckets. She can complain, and I am the bucket for the filth she puts out there. Funny fact is that when we were cleaning up the house to minimalize and to go into the van life, I found a little bank booklet which said that when I was born, my grandmother opened a savings account for me. If that savings account was still existed, we wouldn't have any troubles in the world now. But it turned out that my mother, like the Vikings, plundered my account when I was a baby until there was nothing left. When I confronted her with that, when we were minimalizing, in the first instance she couldn't remember, but when I showed her the booklet, she said, "Oh, yeah, I guess I needed it all for you because you were a baby and you needed stuff and things."
That sounds like my
So
parents.
that, yes, exactly. So that justified her plundering my bank account. Thanks, Mom. So maybe, and maybe that's the only reason, maybe she feels guilty, and that is why she helps out a little financially. So, not because she is a loving mother who wants you to be happy and wants her kid to be well taken care of. Basically, what it comes down to, I had to raise myself, two absent parents and an absent half-sister. Now I finally found out about the narcissist thing. It puts many things in perspective, and it clears up a lot of things. I sometimes still have contact with my mother, but only when she calls me. So that's the only contact I still have with my mother. That was basically the help we can count on in my family. So I hope I was clear enough. If you have more questions, just put them in the dinges below and just ask. Thank you for listening, and I hope it became a bit more clear about my family. Thank you. with a fluffy tail. So, almost looks like a squirrel. So, Kitty is playing with wool, lots of wool. He's in wool, balls of wool paradise.
Woolala.
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 Woolhalla. So, this kitty is in Woolhalla with rags and balls of wool. Everything a cat desires is there. A room filled with it. Seeing it is Kitty's paradise, we must also include some mouse, of course. Some mice, of course. So, there's wool, there's cloth, there's strings, etc. But
We have a cheap flashlight.
yes, we do.
Yes.
So yes, it's very, it's almost like a strobe light. So, mouse head, mouse ear, and another mouse ear, hiding in the balls of wool. So folks, this is the end result. Kitty's paradise, full of wool, and full of mice. And Kitty is stretching from all that divineness. So, mouse, 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 mouse. Kitty's paradise. Kitty doesn't have a name, so you can name it yourself. And, of course, it's available in the web shop at www.artips.com/arbilicious. Hello? Yes, Kitty's paradise.